Bonnie Blue is confident she'll be at Schoolies on the Gold Coast next month, but it won't be easy. To get here, she needs a visa. She says a good lawyer gets you a very long way, but all the way down under, many are hoping not. And Associate Professor Jason Donnelly is a barrister who specialises in immigration law. Jason, is this the type of person we want in Australia?
Arguably not. Her visa was cancelled last year, of course, which itself leads to not being able to come to the country for 3 years. So there's already a ban in place according to the laws in this country.
But she says that her lawyers have found a workaround in regards to that. Is that an easy process?
Very difficult process. First of all, she would need to waive the 3-year ban. That's not easy.
But we've also got to remember she's not doing anything illegal. So on what grounds can the government refuse her entry?
Well, if you're a non-citizen in Australia, your visa can be refused for reasons unrelated to criminal conduct. So the government can just look at your general behaviour, both present and past, and if they are concerned that that behaviour might lead to a risk to the Australian community, that could be enough to refuse the visa.
So what's then the criteria that determines bad behaviour or bad character, and how much discretion does the minister have?
The government would be looking at your moral characteristics and how you're perceived in the community, both here and overseas, and whether you pose a risk. Secondly, even without engaging in criminal offending, if your conduct invokes, for example, discord to the Australian community or a segment of the community, family members of young adult boys, for example, schools, universities.
You're effectively saying there are going to be a lot of people who do not want to see Bonnie Blue back in this country.
That could be a basis itself to meet the test of invoking discord in the Australian community.
OK, so the Immigration Minister's office couldn't comment other than to say she doesn't currently have a visa. But here's what she said to me. It's been very touch and go if it was going to happen, but I've recently had confirmation I can do Schoolies. She's confident, but what do you think?
Well, you need a lawful visa to come into Australia. I wouldn't be so confident. I think the fact that she had her visa cancelled last year, as I mentioned a short time ago, the fact that, as I understand, she had her visa equivalent in Fiji cancelled itself.
Because that's where she actually did a stunt with another sex worker, and they got deported from Fiji, which is more than what happened in Australia. She was banned because she didn't have a working visa.
But that itself demonstrates, arguably, a person not of good character because you're not complying with Australia's migration laws.
So, I mean, it is hard to see how she's going to get the welcome mat. And if we look at who else has been rejected on character grounds, you've got the American conservative commentator, Candace Owens. I mean, she took that all the way to the High Court and lost. And also Alex Vella, the bikie boss.
I think what those two cases demonstrate is the very broad level of discretion and power that the Minister for Immigration has, and it's very difficult to overturn a decision of the Minister who refuses or cancels a visa on character grounds. In the case of Candace Owens, for example, I think one of the arguments there was that freedom of expression, political commentator from the United States, right-wing views, perhaps extreme. The High Court said that freedom of expression has limits. Even if you do have, generally speaking, a right to express your views publicly.
Because I think this is the thing, right? Like we might sit here and we might hate everything she does and everything she stands for, but there is free speech. So, I mean, can we simply say you can't come in because we don't like what you do? Yes,
it's taking a holistic view of the conduct both here and overseas of a non-citizen, because they're all relevant considerations to whether a person should get a visa and the risk that that person might pose to the Australian community, all segments of it.
OK, so from everything you've heard and know, do you think we will actually see Bonnie Blue on the Gold Coast for this Schoolies?
No.
And I think right now there are a whole lot of people at home going, phew. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure.